The words that I've been hearing as we've been coming up to the start of Satsang this evening are meeting what's here. And so then that brings up the questions, how do we meet what's here? How do we be here? And what does that even mean, meeting what's here? So I gave a live interview last night about death and suicide and grief and loss and meeting what's here. And so there's a carryover of that theme of meeting what's here. So it may not be the same topic that I spoke about last night. But let's just check in. How is this relevant for us this evening? These words, meeting what's here. So there's a way that we can meet whatever arises to have us be effective in our life, to be comfortable in our life, to be useful in our life. And there's also even deeper than that, where then it's not a strategy to do anything, just to be free, as you are, without moving. It takes the willingness to meet whatever really is here without thinking about what that may be. Because it may or may not involve fear. It's highly likely. But it may not. So the mind's already jumping in to protect, to prepare that it may be fear. You know, to have that on-guardedness, that heads up about what it might be. The truth is, we don't know what's here until we turn our attention here. So are you willing to discover what really is here in this moment? Not what was here, not what you'd like to be here, not what you may have experienced before and you want to get back to that. Or not an idea or an ideal of something you've heard about. Or someone shared some experience about and you want that. Just discovering what's here. Meeting what's here. Being present and available to the moment. So the mind has these strategies. So the thoughts arise, we hear the thought, we notice it, and we follow it. And it moves us away from the experience in the body. So are you willing to allow the thought to arise and not pay it any attention? So as we spoke about downstairs, I'm not talking about, you know, that if you're about to step off the curb and you're just making that assessment, do you have enough time to cross the road or will you be hit by the bus? Not that. That's probably a useful observation. That, you know, right now there is no bus charging through the room. Here we are. So this really is the choice. This is the opportunity that you have, that regardless of the thought that arises, to not follow it. Right here, to not follow it. And when you don't follow it, you may start to feel something. So some people won't feel anything because there's a level of suppression and numbness. So you become aware that you're not feeling anything. You may feel some kind of sensation in the body. Maybe there's you notice there's some sensation. Or you may feel the emotion of something. Then a thought arises again to tell you what's going on. That there's a thought or a sensation or a feeling or an emotion. And what happens is then you follow that thought and you get lost in the thought rather than being here with what is. So are you willing again to allow the thought to arise and not follow it and be with whatever's being discovered? So it's not that you have to stop the thought. The thought will come. Maybe it's like the thought will come, oh, my heart's pounding. It's enough. Don't have to do anything with it. And you feel, you're aware there's a sensation. As you're aware, maybe the thought arises, oh, I can feel fear. It's enough. Don't have to follow it. You don't have to do anything with it. It just comes, it goes. Whether it's named or not, it doesn't matter. There's some emotion, some sensation. And you become aware, because there is a physical form here, you become aware of what's happening with the form. So maybe you're actively engaged in some story, some thought, some idea, something that happened, distraction. Maybe you vague out into a kind of a numb mental blur. You just notice, acutely aware, notice what's happening. You don't have to tell yourself anything about it, you just notice. And the willingness to stay here. And you notice maybe the body tenses or tightens, or maybe there's that sensation or that thought arises like, I think I'm leaving Satsang now. You know, that comes up for people. It's like they want to leave. So again, the thought arises and the willingness not to touch it. You don't have to stop it rising. Just be here. Maybe the body gets hot and cold, the emotions rise and fall. So right now you notice what's happening. You notice your body, you notice your breath. If you're telling yourself something about it, notice that. Just let it come and go. without following it. Let the body really soften. There's nothing to guard against in this room. There's nothing to protect against in this room. And if you notice that as the thoughts arise, that you're more entertained by the thoughts than what's actually here, just notice that. Notice what you're giving your attention to. So none of it's wrong. You're just noticing and softening and noticing and softening. You're softening the grip that the mind has, the grip in the body. And then whatever arises, whatever sensation, whether it's that tremor, that shake, that hot, that cold. And sometimes people experience nausea. We had that recently in the room. And so the willingness to open. Now what that means is as though you were the door. You open. Notice what's holding. Is it a thought that's holding? Just don't touch it. Is it the body that's holding? Soften it, open. Is there a grip with the emotion? Soften, allow it. And so what's here right now? What are you discovering? So notice if any of you are experiencing this as well. That if you listen rather than look, what do you become aware of? Because usually we're thinking it. Some people are feeling their way through, other people are sensing their way through. So just notice. So it's good, isn't it? Because we can see in this example, it's like a looking out here and I want that. But let's go the other way in. All the way into the intensity. Soften everything all the way in. And just notice what it is, what it's made of, what it feels like. And just keep softening and opening. Nothing else other than this that's here now. Being fully here, aware. What do you notice? So I want you to notice two things. So there's a sensation, and what are you telling yourself about the sensation? Yeah, so what's that? I don't know if that... Yeah. Yeah, right, okay. I don't know if that's right. So whatever's going on, we're looking for the right thing. So we're looking out here in the world at someone or something for some experience that we think they've got and we want it. So then we overlook what's here. We overlook what's actually here. So there's some intensity. But then it might not be the right thing. So then I can't even fully give my attention to it because it might be the wrong thing. So if you don't touch any of that, any of the thoughts, you see there's that thought on top. So without touching any thought, allow this intensity and open. What if this is all there is right now? As you give your full attention here. This life, this sensation, this experience, this feeling, this quality. So something's different. So what's being discovered? So are you willing to just let the thought come and go? And give your attention here to discover this joy, this peace, this that you didn't discover over here. You discovered it just here, where you are, as you are. Even with the intensity, even with the thought that said the intensity might be the wrong thing, and you still discover peace and joy here. You see the difference? We go this way out instead of in. And just the relaxedness that comes over your whole face. It's beautiful. So like this is what happens, you know, and then a thought comes, and our habit is we follow the thought again. Or we have the choice to give our attention to the discovery. The more you give your attention to the discovery, the more the discovery is discovered. How can it be if we keep giving our attention to something else? It's beautiful. So it's so beautiful to see, because I see your face, and before it's like this, and then it's just, because there's nothing to get. You can't even lose this. You can test it out. You can follow a thought, and you can feel the pain of following the thought and the intensity, and there's agony with it, there's struggle with it, there's, all of what, and then you can stop and give your attention here to the discovery. It didn't go anywhere. This is you, doesn't go anywhere. That's the choice. Simple, isn't it? It's much more simple just to be yourself, to relax, thoughts will come and go. Don't take them seriously. Unless it's that one, judging the bus. That one. Really, we treat all our thoughts as though it's a life or death proposition, but it's not. That one with the bus, or that one, as we go to reach for that food and something goes, don't eat that. And you either trust it or you don't. You eat it and you vomit. So thoughts can be useful because it's part of the mechanism of form, the survival of the form, which is why that comes up. Judge the bus. That food. But these other ones, that one about who I am, I'll only get it whatever they've got, or something not aligned between consciousness and the body. Distraction. Because while you're following that, you miss the incredibleness just here. Isn't it amazing? Just here. It's like the whole body, the whole being, awareness hears. Not the ears. The seeing stops being seeing through the eyes of someone. This awareness seeing. The body gets used. Sometimes it gets used too much and it falls in a heap. The body needs to rest. So it's useful, isn't it, to check the validity of the thought that's rising. Is it the bus? It's a better example because we're not living with the line, are we? We're not going to find one. But the bus, stepping off the curb. See, there's this. It's like this hint, these hints, they're so subtle, these hints of clinging to something, to know something or discern something. We have to be willing to throw it all out. So if you don't touch the clinging and you don't touch the letting go, and you just hear. And maybe there's still the nervous energy. And you just open. Nothing wrong, nothing to fix. That here's this form showing up and there's some sensation arising. And you don't have to cling or let go. You get to just be here as you are. What do you notice? And is that okay? Yeah. See, because the sensation will come and go. Because you check that you had a sensation before, is that here? And this sensation will come and it'll go. And so as you soften even more and you just allow the sensation to be however it is, notice what it's rising in, what is it appearing in. So at first it might feel like it's appearing in the body, and yet as we soften the body so much, the sensation and the body is rising and appearing. And you know, I use that term, the pinpointed awareness. It's like so, or that razor's edge, right here, acutely here. Because you notice the subtlety of any movement of thought. And it's not a holding like that, just here. What do you notice? Yeah, more openness. What happens is a thought arises and we suddenly follow the thought, but are you willing to give your full attention here? So as you give your attention here, there's awareness of what is, and then you give your attention here, there's awareness of what is. And you keep giving your attention here, there's awareness of what is. And the discovery, endless. Usually we turn our back on the discovery. We sell out for a thought. And you notice there's a subtle difference between, so there's this opening and whatever is being discovered, and maybe a thought arises that tries to cling then to the discovery. You just notice that. And stop. And your attention is here as you. whole quality of your life changes. There's no one needing anything. So much more simple. It's a relief, isn't it? And then, we go out into our life because we think we leave satsang. I really want you to hear that. We think we leave satsang. Now that's your choice, whether you ever leave satsang or not. So you get to stay here fully, no matter where the body moves in life. What a relief. It's like, I don't have to worry in this room, out of this room, in relationship, out of relationship, at work, at the beach, whatever you do, Here already as you, always in satsang. It's a miracle, isn't it? Like, Do you ever think, when you first come into satsang, that's what you would discover? That satsang is always as you everywhere. You don't have to go and find it. It's beautiful. We're slowly working our way around. See, the sensation of fear will arise if the survival mechanism is fear, because there's different mechanisms. If the predominant one is fear, fear will arise. But there's no problem with that. If we're willing to just be still, we don't have to hold on to anything. We don't have to manage anything. We don't have to keep anything out or anything in. So we can, soften all the guardedness, all the protection, all the trying, all the efforting. It's tiring, it's mentally tiring, emotionally tiring, physically tiring. We just stop, that's surrendering, we just stop. Without any thought of before and any thought of tomorrow, or even next moment. Not what has been done or may be done later. The willingness just to be here and open. And discover this moment. And if you catch there's some story of you in it, it's like, oh, it's a story of me. Don't have to touch it, you notice. And you still get to open and soften and be here as you are. So, I started off with those words, meeting what's here. And so how simple has that been, to just meet what's here? To meet a sensation and the thought, and to be here and open. And again, to meet there's some thought, and then whatever's here. And again, to meet there's some sensation and thought, and open what's here. And so like this, we get to meet anything and everything. Anyone and everyone. Every circumstance in life. No matter how joyful or painful. And so we don't guard against it. We taught and conditioned as human beings that there's a time and a place for things and appropriateness. And yet, if we were all willing to be real, to be raw, to be tender, to be exposed, to surrender to whatever's occurring, we can laugh, we can cry, we can play, we can feel. Doesn't matter where we are. You'll often hear people say, but I can't cry in the boardroom. Or, walking down the street, or going to the supermarket, or I need some place where no one will see me, or go to a deserted beach and yell. Or why? Why can't you cry in the boardroom? Why can't you cry in the supermarket? Really? What's going to happen? Someone's going to think something. They're already thinking something. Aren't they? They're already thinking something. So I'm not talking about indulging the emotions, not like, oh my God, there he goes again, or there she goes again, is always crying in the boardroom. Just the realness, life. Maybe somebody's sharing something and you're so moved by it. Would you hold back and guard? Or are you willing to be moved? Maybe you're out looking at the moonrise or the sunrise, or I don't know, something. You're willing to be moved, to stay open. We see something, it touches something that has you want to laugh, not that kind of laughter that's suppression, that laughter that just, you're going to put a lid on that. Why? Because they're going to think something again, because they are already. They already are. Everyone's thinking something. Usually they're thinking something about what's going on for them and how they're showing up and how you're going to see them and how they're performing, or, It's like you just... Everyone's thinking something until they're not. Takes the pressure off, doesn't it? There's years ago, I think in I don't know if it was the year 2000, maybe it was 99. I did a whole lot of the seminars with the Landmark Forum in Sydney. They have lots of different programs, and one of their programs, the whole room is asked, I think the whole room's asked to stand up, and it's like you're imagining that you're in an elevator and you start to become aware of what everybody's thinking about you and what you're thinking and how you're thinking about them. And the more this process is taking place, the room starts to erupt in laughter, because what starts to be discovered is that everybody's terrified of what everybody else is thinking, but they're all thinking the same thing about what you're thinking about me. But what, like they're thinking that, and everybody's, and just suddenly the whole room erupts, There's usually those one or two that it takes a bit longer to catch on, they do, but because they're busily worrying that then everybody's laughing at them as well. But so when you really get this, that the world is already thinking its own story. You don't have to participate in that. You don't have to try and change it. You don't have to try and manipulate it. You don't have to try and modify and mould who you are into someone. Here's this life being lived through this form, this form, this form, this form. Exquisite. It's amazing, isn't it, in a room full of men? To say that, the form, like here we are, exquisite, really. I only just kind of noticed. So give your attention to this. Fully into this. Yeah, forget about anything out there. Even that, it's like this sudden appearance of gender, like appearance, disappearance. Here we are, just as we are. No difference, no separation. Are you willing to stay here regardless? As you give your attention here to this discovery, unwavering, forget the world. And then you can be in it, partake in whatever's going on. Play, laugh, cry. It's good. Yeah. It's beautiful. So, such a beautiful evening. Thank you so much for sharing. So stay as you are, as Satsang.